Students, today we'll start with the importance of minerals. Now, when we talk about the minerals, from where does a plant get the minerals? From the roots. Now, why does it require the minerals? A plant requires the minerals for its growth, for its structure and regulation of different activities. Now, sometimes these minerals are present in the soil, and sometimes we use those fertilizers, chemicals that we apply in the farm fields and the gardens and lawns. So from there we get the elements, these inorganic elements or the minerals. Now in any plant, we can see more than or about 60 elements, but 17 are absolutely necessary ones. So they are called the essential elements, whereas the rest of the elements which are present, which are found in the plants, they are called the non-essential elements. Now these elements are the essential elements. They are divided into macro elements, macronutrients and micronutrients. Now macronutrients are the nutrients or the minerals which are required in the large quantity. That is why the word macro, and the micro which are required in the small quantity or in very trace elements. Now, what are the roles of these macro and micronutrients? They are required for the permeability to pass from the cell membrane, for the maintenance of the osmotic. We read whenever in a cell there is more of minerals present, the water will seep in the cell, and so on from one cell to another, the water will be transpired. Then for the component of the protoplasm, nucleic acids and all, then protein synthesis, we will be start we I suppose we did that in class 7th. In the cell, the protein synthesis is done by those ribosomes, and then photosynthesis and respiration, closing and opening of stomata. So basically for all the regulation of the activities of the plant, we require elements. Now in table here we have the nutrients and their role in plants and deficiency symptoms. So please go through the macro and micronutrients and what are the roles they play. That is the function. And if a plant does not get these elements, what are the deficiency symptoms? And I suppose we end with this chapter with this table, and we'll start with the activity. Activity on page number 10. Here, this activity is to show that the root absorbs water. After reading the chapter, we have understood the fact that roots, with the help of xylem system, vascular system, xylem, the roots, they absorb water and minerals and transport it into the rest of the plant. But how to do it? Now here we take 4 test tubes. In one we put water, and we do not put any of the plant, we just put a cork here. In the B and C, we put water and some oil above it, and we put the plant along which has roots in it. So B, C, D, we put the plant with roots in all the 3 tubes. But in the D one, we will put less water so that the root does not touch water. So what will happen here? If the root will not touch the water, it will not absorb the water. So the effect would be what? It will wilt. And since it is not getting any nutrient from the water, so there will be no growth here. So now we will concentrate on B and C. Now B and C, they both have the similar situation here, but in the C one we will put red color, that the eosin, so that when the root, it takes the water and minerals, the red color also go along with that water. So after reading this, probably you'll come to know the observation. Now this is how the procedure is, and the observations are, since there is no plant, there is no change here. In the D, the root is not touching the water, it is not dipping there, so there is no change in the water level here. In B and C, the water level will fall. Why? Because the water has been absorbed by the plant. And in B and C, why have we put oil? So that the water does not evaporate. So after putting the oil here in the C one, we have put red color extra so that the roots absorbs red color along with the water. So we can see the red color in the stem, in the twig area and the leaf. So this proves that the plant water, it's get absorbed from the root and it reaches the leaves. Here in activity number 2, It is to study the process of diffusion. Here, if we put a cube of sugar and it's truly dissolves in the water, so we read in diffusion what happens? The solute moves, not the solvent. So that means the mineral that will be moving in the liquid. So here sugar is a solute, so it will be dissolving, and as it is we have read it earlier in many of the videos. So you can understand, I suppose, here. Activity number 3, here we have to demonstrate the osmosis process and using the potato osmoscope. Now what is osmoscope? Osmoscope is basically any instrument to demonstrate the osmosis. किसी ऑस्मोसिस प्रोसेस को शो करने के लिए जो भी चीज़ को हम यूज़ करते हैं उसको हम ऑस्कोस्कोप बोलते हैं. हियर वी हैव यूज्ड पोटैटो, सो हियर दैट इज़ वाई द नेम गिवन पोटैटो ऑस्मोस्कोप. नाउ व्हाट वी हैव डन, we have taken a potato here, a beaker, and here we have flattened the base and from upward, and then we have made a cavity here. Now what did we do? We have used pure distilled water outside in the beaker, and we have put a sugar solution here inside, and the level when we started the experiment was this. We have put pin here. This is the first pin, then this is the first pin here, and then what happens in the osmosis? The solvent moves. Since it is a sugar solution, the water will move from the membrane, from the potato inside, and after some time, after probably 2 hours or some, the water level increases, and then when we are observing it after 2 hours, we can say the water level has increased from the pin which we had put earlier to the another one. So we put another pin there, and then we observe the change there. Now here this experiment we observed that the sugar solution in the cavity in the potato, the level has increased because of the osmosis process, when the water from outside the potato which is in this beaker, it has moved inside. Activity number 4, we can say that earlier in activity number 1 where we read about the 4 test tubes, here we can just continue with that, because there we read that the roots, they absorb the water and they picked up the red color, and we could see it in the stem, twigs and the leaf. Now something similar here, if we take a twig here and we put in the conical flask and we put the red color, eosin color solution there, something similar there, the twig will, because it has a xylem vessel here, it will absorb the water, and since it has the eosin red color, it will take the red color to the twig and the leaves. Now if we take the transverse section or the longitudinal section, transverse is the horizontal section, longitudinal, so here they have shown here that after some time, if we put the twig here in the conical flask and we leave it for some time, after maybe 2-3 hours, when we observe, when we take the section, what will we observe? That the xylem, they have taken the red color, showing what? From the root, the water was absorbed, so it has taken, so it is showing the path which has absorbed the water. So with this we observe the ascent of sap or the upward movement of water and minerals through the xylem vessel. Activity number 5. Here when we started with the ascent of sap, we discussed 2 factors. One was root pressure, another one was transpirational pull. Now here this is an activity to show the root pressure in plants. Here we have used the herbaceous plant, any green plant, and a manometer. Manometer is an instrument which is filled with fluid which is used to measure and indicate the pressure. Now how are we going to show the pressure? That the stem which has accumulated the water and is putting a pressure upward, so that the water would move further upward, and if the root is putting a pressure, they will put the pressure on the manometer, and the liquid, the mercury which is present in the manometer, will also be pushed upward. So here we have taken 2 potted plants, and we have removed all the leaves from there, and we just have the stem here about few centimeters above the soil, and then we have inserted a glass tube so that the pressure when it is there, it would push the liquid, that is the mercury present in the manometer here. So after some time we will see that there is a rise in the level of the mercury. Why? Because there is a root pressure, as we have read earlier. Activity number 6 on page number 15. Here, to demonstrate the transpiration in plants, we take a potted plant and then we cover the jar. We take a polythene and then we cover the pot, and then we later on cover it with the bell jar, and we leave the setup in the sunlight. If we put any plant, keep any plant in the sunlight, what will happen? With the help of sunlight, and we have water and soil inside, so it will prepare food, and it will prepare, it will what, because of sunlight it will transpire also, it will lose the excess water, the water will vaporize. So when anything vaporizes, what happens? The vapors go up, but if you put some lid over it, the water that's because of the condensation process, the water vapor will be the drops could be seen there. So the condensation process will happen here, and through that we will conclude that the excess loss of water is there and transpiration process has taken place. Now here in these two, when we keep any cut flower in the water, the flower, it remains fresh for few days. Why? Because the stem, it absorbs water. Through the activities we interpreted that because the xylem vessel, the conducting vessels, they have absorbed the water, and the water by evaporation is replaced by the water absorbed, so it remains fresh. Why do plant lose so much of water? Because it get rid of the excess water. So with this we complete the chapter. In the next activity we'll do the question answers.